You are listening to an interview with a featured Pride of Dakota member.
Hi, this is Sarah Kelson. Today I'm sitting down with Scott Wild and Joe Khalifa with MoJo Coffee Roasters. Welcome.
Hello.
Thank you. Hello.
So, Joe, we've had you on before, but like to hear what's going on with your company.
Oh, there's so much going on with my company right now. It doesn't seem like it's all about the coffee as much as it is all about the people that I interact with. The coffee is just kind of a catalyst for greater things to come. I think I get to work with some really amazing North Dakota entrepreneurs. Katie Cashin with Buffalo Gals, Mikey's Chocolate, Cindy Yale, fantastic people, Chocolatopia and Minot. Mm-hmm. Allie, a newcomer to Pride of Dakota. She's got Allie's coffee shop in Botno on Main Street in the old hospital. And she is actually working on a great project with me with our burlap. I end up with tons of leftover burlap from the coffee beans that I roast. And I asked Allie if she knew how to sew. And she said, well, I have a sewing machine. And she's a very talented artist. And now she's making handbags and grocery bags out of the burlap and donating proceeds to the March of Dimes and to the Botno County Family Crisis Center. I hope I have March of Dimes right. I think that's what it is. But and just hooking people up together. I think I'm more of a facilitator right now in this world of coffee.
Well, that's always how I have known you, is every time I talk to you, and we've done interviews together, and you're always talking about even these global ventures and these things that you're doing. I mean, you affect people all over the world with what you do, and that's not. I'm not surprised at all. In fact, we had Katie Cashin on the show a couple weeks ago, and she credited her business starting because of you.
So how are you making all this happen? How are you making these connections or facilitating?
Well, it's a lot of it is by accident. For example, I'm a part of a organization called Cafe Femenino, Women and Children in Coffee, and monies that from the coffees that I roast from Peru, Mexico, and Guatemala go back to help the Botno Family Crisis Center. Soon the Minot Domestic Abuse Center will be helped with a coffee shop that I wrote a proposal to Minot State, and they're creating a coffee shop on that proposal, and that coffee shop will directly donate proceeds to the domestic abuse cause in Minot.
And serve your coffee, I hope.
Serve my coffee. Oh, I hope so. Yeah. And then so we donate to Guatemala, Mexico, and Peru, but then our own community is benefiting from it as well. And through that, I have a lot of excited people that I run into. We just cupped or tasted a coffee from Rwanda that's new on the horizon. It's a cup of a Cafe Femenino coffee. And I just found out I'm also a mentor through a women's organization that's global for a businesswoman in Rwanda. So it all just kind of falls upon me. And I really think that we're not alone in this world, that it's my glory day to be able to take somebody along with me for this journey that I'm on. And I've been blessed to be a Hollywood coffee roaster, and I have a lot of connections out there. And all of the people that come along with me, that I asked to come along, are being blessed as well. So it's just a really great journey, and life is never fun alone.
Right. Well, some people dream and some people do. And Joe, you're a doer. And you're one of those people that take action. You definitely have big dreams, but you're the one that actually opens your eyes in the morning, gets your feet on the floor and starts moving those feet and getting things done. So that's very, very cool. You're involved in a lot of cool projects.
Yeah. And the coffee, like I said, is just kind of it's how I started, but it's just led to so many great, wonderful things. And I work with the Department of Tourism too and do learning-based tours. I was really disturbed one day. I heard this movie star got a really big coffee gig, and it's supposed to be sustainable coffee. And I hear things like this a lot in the news, and I think sustainable is good, but then a nationwide chain has picked them up, and there goes the quality. So with consumers being very in the dark about coffee and the agricultural product it is, I feel it's my obligation, with all the knowledge that I've gained through the years doing this, to share it and make the consumer a savvier consumers. So it doesn't matter if you have really great coffee and then you stick it on a store shelf for 6 months, it's not going to be a really great coffee anymore. So.
Right. Now, you say that you found this new coffee from Rwanda. I mean, how does that come about? I mean, and is that a different kind of coffee? I mean, is it obviously the climate that the beans are raised, or the soil, or the type of beans, or, can you explain a little bit about how that Rwanda came to be, and what's different about it than, say, some of the other Guatemalan or,
Okay, well, you can actually, all coffee is different. You can actually have two farms side by side in Guatemala, and they can have extremely different tasting coffees. One can be really, really superb and make cup of excellence, and the other one may make a commercial grade coffee.
Okay.
A lot of my brokers and traders that I work with, we've got trusted relationships. We've built them over the years, and they know what we like and shoot me samples. And I stumble across some of the most phenomenal coffees. They're all specialty grade.
Yeah.
Only 5% of the world's coffee makes that grade. So they are some of the most spectacular coffees out there. One of my brokers was actually really excited about the coffee that they brought in, this Cafe Femenino Rwandan, and said, "Oh, you've got to try it. It's amazing." And it is really, really amazing. Like all of the other coffees I have at my shop, they're all, they all taste different and have different profiles. But to be able to have coffees that women grow for me and to promote them and their causes and benefit their world, we're working in the next 10 years on a foundation that will give back, where we can empower women globally and help them develop their business, whether it's weaving or making pottery, maybe help buy equipment that will help their job a little bit better. And then I want to develop a website where I can expose these women to the world and help their communities. Eventually, the communities are going to see, the men in the communities are going to see how productive these women are and what a value they are. And, you can look at women in Afghanistan or in the Arab world where they aren't allowed to leave the homes a lot of times by themselves. And you think, how are you going to tap into these people? Well, we'll get a group of people, go into their homes, and their sons and their grandsons and their nephews and their brothers, the women, will see how these women are producing and becoming viable, productive people in their economies, maybe building schools and building clinics and bringing potable water. It won't happen overnight. My kids are young and they're very passionate about what I'm doing and know this dream. So if I'm not here to see it to fulfillment, I got some people.
Well, yeah, you've built quite a network, and that is such an amazing vision. I mean, it does my heart good to listen to you talk. So, I mean, really, it's very, very commendable what you put together and just your attitude toward it. And so
I wake up every morning, and this is what gets me going. Not even a cup of coffee, and you guys are the first ones to hear this.
Well, I was going to ask you about that, but we'll get
I wake up every morning thinking, how am I going to make this day a better day in somebody else's life? How am I going to be the best me that I can go out there and be, and sincerely mean that, and truly touch people in such a positive way. So my footprint is left a little bit better on this earth than it was before I came into it. So
that's amazing.
Yeah,
and then I hit the MoJo.
Okay. Now, so what is in your coffee pot most often? What kind of coffee do you like? I mean, what's your blend?
Oh, that's kind of a trick question, because when people ask me that, a lot of times I'll roast a coffee that they order. Brazil has been on my hot list right now. That is one smoking good coffee, but they'll say, I need this Brazilian, so I roast a little bit extra so I can have some, and then that's my favorite until the next order an hour later.
So it does change.
So are you always looking for different flavors or different types of coffee, or do you have?
I am. Coffee is kind of like the rose family. If you think of it like that, you've got your black roses, your red roses, yellow roses. Coffee is the same thing. You've got your Arabica and your Robustas, but then you have the varietals, the Catuai, the Catura, the Geisha, the Bourbones. So they all have a different profile. I had a coffee grown in Kenya, in the Gitwambo region of Kenya, and that coffee was actually a Jamaican Blue Mountain coffee that was brought to Kenya and grown on this farm.
Oh, wow.
very, very different profiles because of where they grew, but still an outstanding, exceptional coffee. And it didn't cost $60 a pound,
Sure.
So it's more reasonable.
Now, why does it cost 60? Is it just because of getting it from those regions? I mean, just
No.
the sheer cost, or is it just how rare it is? Or
Well, we have Q auctions in the coffee industry, and we have Cup of Excellence, where a panel of international judges will go out to the different growing companies and all the farmers that want to be cupped against each other. Cupping means tasting in the
Sure.
industry. So when they want to be cupped against each other to find the best of the best, they go head to head, and then the judges determine who has the best. And whatever, I have a coffee right now in my shop, a Colombian Los Naranjos that came from the Cup of Excellence farm in Colombia. And I got it at a really good price. So I'm able to offer the customers a really good price for that. A lot of these can go for $45 to $60 a pound just because somebody rated them.
wow.
And the Q auction is the same thing.
I had no idea the coffee industry was that confusing.
And I picture a bunch of really wired individuals going around doing coffee testing.
They still take their siestas.
Hi, I'm the judge.
How are they able to take a siesta?
Yeah, really. Well, it's the second largest traded commodity right under oil.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we know so little about a product that we should be asking a lot of questions about.
Especially a product that we consume so much of.
Well,
It's an
Exactly.
agricultural product, guys.
Yeah.
So you have to think, if it's a consumable, there's going to be a way to get it into the consumer's
Right.
systems. And we've got below grade. I'm a certified coffee grader as well. So you've got, starting from the top, specialty grade is the best, premium grade, commercial grade, and then below grade. All of those coffees are out there on the market. Commercial grade's the most prevalent in the marketplace.
Sure.
And as a consumer, I was disgusted to know that people weren't being upfront with me. When people are ignorant, and not in a bad sense, they just lack the knowledge that they should have. When they're kept that way, then you can sell them anything you want to, and you can tell them little bits and pieces of exactly what you want them to know, not what they should know.
Sure. So you're talking about stuff that's in the can on the shelf at the grocery store, right? I mean,
More than likely.
and then they just have a really heartwarming commercial.
Yeah. I like to tell everybody what I have so that they can make a very conscious decision on if they are concerned about quality and if they're concerned about freshness.
Yeah.
That's going to be really important to the consumer. If you don't care what you drink and you just want that cheap cup of coffee, well, then, more power to you. It's your choice as a consumer. But I think in my mind, it's important to make sure that people have that information so that they can make a conscious decision on what they're going to consume.
Right.
I wanted that. And when I learned about this industry, I was appalled at just, you look at the different countries around the world that are having problems right now. A lot of the leaders of those countries will keep their people ignorant and only feed them what they want them to know. That's a dangerous situation.
Yeah.
We're very transparent. We do a lot of tours up at the shop. And, if you want to come in and get your hands dirty, you're more than welcome to come in and see how it's all done and learn a lot.
That's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is there a healthier benefit to the certain roasts that you have? I mean, or is there, if you compare like a can of coffee on the shelf at the grocery store compared to the fresh roast that you do, are there health benefits to, what you do, or is it about the same?
No, I would not drink an unfiltered coffee if I did not know where it came from. And I know in the news in the past years, there's been some controversy where customers or consumers will hear, don't drink unfiltered coffee. It could be dangerous. I drink unfiltered coffee all the time, either espresso or French press brewed. And I do that because I know what's in my coffee. But there is a toxin called ochratoxin, which is a byproduct from a fungus that is a known carcinogen. And we're trying now to get laws on the books to say that coffee is not allowed in this country.
Sure.
It has to be tested. It's a very simple test. You can do it in your own kitchen if you buy the strips and test for it, but it's a dangerous thing. You don't want to drink that coffee unfiltered.
Right.
So, you in the news, they fed the consumer a little bit of information, but didn't tell them the big story.
Right.
And I've gotten that a lot. Oh my gosh, espresso, is that going to be bad for my health because it's unfiltered? No, not necessarily. If you know what you're drinking, it's good. If you don't, just like what you're eating,
Sure.
it's a food product. Actually, coffee is the only food product in the world that needs to be kept away from the air we breathe, but needs an outlet for the gases to escape. And the predominant gas in that coffee is CO2. And that's what keeps coffee fresh. I'll give you a real quick little lesson.
Sure.
There are about 200,000 cells in a coffee bean. And as the coffee is roasting and expanding, those cell walls are stiffening and it's getting bigger. And when you start to develop the oils in the coffees in the roast, they coat the cell walls, which helps hold the CO2 in the coffee bean.
Okay.
When the coffee is dumped out of the roaster and it's packaged, it should be packaged in a bag with a one-way degassing valve, and that was developed in the 1960s.
Sure.
Prior to that, there was no way to keep it fresh. So when coffee goes stale, the air that we breathe, which is 20 to 22% oxygen, starts to replace the CO2 in those cells, and that's what makes coffee stale.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I noticed that when you sent us the bags of coffee here to the Idea Center, that they had that special valve on the side, and I thought to myself, well, how come if you want to keep it fresh, how come there's a hole in the bag? But it's not.
It's a really neat technology. Take it apart when you're done with it, and
Sure.
look, it's just like a little piece of fiber that's over that hole on the inside.
Yeah, that only lets one way.
It'll allow all of those gases. And another thing, when you open the bag, the air that we breathe gets in there.
Yeah.
And the CO2 that's left in the bag will help pump that out.
Nice.
So,
crazy.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's very cool. So have you seen a change as far as, when you prepare your coffee, everyone's got a Keurig now.
Yes.
And so do you think that enhances the coffee drinking world? I mean, where they're trying different things. I mean, you can make your MoJo coffee in a Keurig, one of those special Keurig filters, right?
That's right. Yep. And there's a company, they're called EcoBrew, and they are volleying to get my business. It's a little container to put in those Keurigs.
Yep.
And they're cheaper than the Keurig container. And I'm still kind of researching to see if there's a good market for us to use that. I believe there is, but it's quite an expense for me to bring in the minimum.
Sure.
So,
well, I know that the Keurig. I'm not a coffee drinker normally. I mean, I'll have every once in a while I'll have a cup of coffee, but it's not something I normally do. I'm more of a tea drinker.
Mm-hmm.
But I have found that with my Keurig that I have here at the office, I am more willing to make coffee for people versus having a pot sit out on the burner all day long or get cold or, so I can make someone a fresh cup of coffee. But do you see that? I mean, more and more people seem to be consuming coffee. I mean, it is, like you said, it's the second tradest commodity in the world. Because of these machines, they're making it much easier and less messy and stuff. So do you think that does it aid? Are those good machines in making coffee? Do you think you think that they make a good cup of coffee, or does it need to have a different processing or brewing?
I'm more of a purist. And I'm more of a curious person. I want to know, what is that in there?
Yeah.
So if you're getting a flavored coffee, or, you're getting something maybe substandard, you wouldn't know about it because they're not telling you.
Yeah.
A lot of people are using them. It's really handy for office coffee. We still sell a lot of office coffee. Carrie at Earthkind, she has our office coffee program and just brews it in a regular little pot. But a lot of our customers are using the Keurig with our coffee. They like it for the hot chocolate. And some of the coffees are rather nasty. One of my customers was in the shop and said, some of them are okay, but I've had some that have been really bitter and not very good.
Sure.
So, yeah.
But you call it the MoJo filter, right? When you
the
put it
MoJo
in
filter, I think we're going to go with that. But people want that convenience. They want it really easy. And I have a to-go French press that a lot of people will purchase that, and you take it on the road with you, throw a couple tablespoons of coarse ground coffee in there, go to a C-store, get the hot water off of their unit. And,
awesome.
And then you can just rinse it, and when you're done at the next place you stop, and you've always got a fresh cup of coffee in your hand and know where it comes from too.
So are all your products you carry, you have a website and people can check you out? Or?
Yeah. And I have one other exciting thing too. I've hooked up with Jeff Beyer at Pride Dairy. And I'll tell you what, they are a phenomenal group of people to work with. Love working with Pride Dairy. And we
some of the nicest folks up there.
Absolutely. And wonderful to work with. Jeff and I get together and it's almost like too much.
We just featured them on their interview. I interviewed them at the Bismarck Holiday Showcase.
Yeah, he has a phenomenal product. His kids are wonderful. We've done shows together. And
great family.
We have the MoJo coffee ice cream now.
Ooh.
It is
Oh my gosh.
unbelievable. And it's
You get your sweet and your caffeine all at once.
Oh,
Nice.
absolutely. And we've got the Mocha Moo. It is like it's like a dilly
That's
bar.
awesome.
He has the cow pie, and it's a Juneberry dark chocolate covered.
Yeah.
Oh, they're really wonderful. The Mocha Moo with the MoJo roast coffee in it.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. That is
sounds fabulous.
outstanding.
See, now there's another reason to go to Botno. I have to get up there and have what's called a pig's dinner.
Oh, yeah.
It's in a wooden trough.
It's good.
Yeah, and so now I got to try the Mocha
But we've
Moo.
got some more. Jeff and I have been kind of conspiring, and we've got some
Very
more
cool.
really cool ideas that we're going to be putting out there. And he's actually being distributed by Dean Foods now. So
Excellent.
you can just ask for Pride Dairy products in your grocery store, and Dean Foods can get him up there. And you guys can get your MoJo on and put caramel and chocolate. And oh
Wow,
my
that sounds
gosh, all
fabulous.
kinds of goodness.
She's a mover and shaker, definitely in the coffee world. So how can people get a hold of your products? Let's talk about how they find you.
MoJoRoast.com. I was telling Scott, you weren't here then. I have an order when I get back to the shop that's going to Da Nang, Vietnam.
Wow,
So you can find us on the
fabulous.
World Wide Web.
Absolutely. And you're-
www.mojoroast.com.
And you said New Zealand?
New Zealand, Great Britain, Puerto Rico. We get around.
That's
Right on.
awesome. And of
Yeah.
course, you're super active on Twitter and Facebook, so we can
Yep.
make sure you get out there and follow her on there too.
Yeah, and I have to give Pride of Dakota a shout out too. You made my life really easy in the beginning when I started doing this business, and just being able to network and nosh with the rest of the entrepreneurs here in North Dakota. And I promote you guys all over the place. And
We appreciate that.
People ask me, how do you get your product everywhere? Go to Pride of Dakota. Be a member. It's reasonable. You got to do it.
That's great. Thanks,
See, Sarah?
Joe.
She's your fault.
Yeah. Dang. No, I take credit now.
There you go.
Happily.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming in today, Joe. That's been awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you guys. It was fun.
To learn more about this featured Pride of Dakota member, visit our website, prideofdakota.com. To become a featured Pride of Dakota member, send an email to prideofdakota@gmail.com. To listen to the full podcast of North Dakota Now, click on the podcast link on our website, prideofdakota.com. Thanks for listening.